What's up YouTube, UVS Grim here, and today I'm making a video about Portal Knights version 1.3.2. Version 1.3.0 was the big Adventurers update that came out recently, but with it came a whole bunch of bugs. 1.3.2 fixed a whole bunch of stuff, which included bosses not dropping loot or dropping loot off their platforms, and UI scaling issues. So now that the game is playable again, let's get into it. First up on the big list of things that the Adventurers update introduced is standalone servers. Standalone servers are fantastic. They allow you to set up a server on your computer or on a different computer that you and your friends can all connect to, and your friends don't have to rely on you being online, or you don't have to rely on your friends being online in order for everyone to play in the same world. Okay, let's talk about something I'm really excited about: mini-pets. Mini-pets are absolutely useless, but they kind of serve as like an achievement that you can show off, or it's something that you can rub in your friends' faces. In any MMO, mini-pets can be something that's like a status symbol for your character or an integral part of your costume. Mini-pets in Portal Knights is actually one of the things that I really love about the game, and I'm really glad that they decided to elaborate on the mini-pet system further. In the Adventurers update, Portal Knights added the ability to place mini-pet homes and put your mini-pets inside of them so that they can be displayed in the world. And they don't just stand there, they wander around in these little mini-pet territories, which is fantastic when you think about it, because you could do all kinds of stuff. Like, you could make a dragon statue and have a whole bunch of dragons. You could make a haunted library and fill it with a whole bunch of the Dark Prince mini-bosses, or maybe a whole bunch of spectral pals. Or you can place your aquatic pets inside of ponds and lakes that then become an aquatic environment. It isn't just a static pond sitting there empty, like it actually has some life to it. The possibilities are endless, and this being an RPG and a creative game really helps the creative portion shine. Movable NPCs. Finally, we've got a creative game where we can take NPCs from the world that we discover and that we can interact with, and we can move them into our own areas. This is amazing. This is game changing. This makes those all those buildings and stuff that you build during your creative sessions that normally would just stand empty and you just kind of sadly imagine somebody standing there. This brings a whole new level again to the creativity of this game. Players now have the ability to go out into the world, discover NPCs, and bring them back home. Placeable NPCs are very similar to the placeable mini-pets in that they can actually help kindle that spark of creativity, and you can create things like alchemy shops or bookstores or pet stores. NPCs can even be placed just for convenience, so I'll keep one near my crafting area, and whenever I come back to the house and I go to store stuff or craft something, then I'll be able to dump my extra stacks of stuff and make some gold, as opposed to just throwing everything away and not profiting at all. One of the biggest announcements in the Adventurers update was 20 new weapons were added to the game. We did not get 20 new weapons. What we got was mostly variations of existing weapons, such as pistols, daggers, scythes, fist weapons, and the Master's Orb, with elemental variations. The one new weapon that we did get is a floating sword for the mage, and it sucks. A lot. Finally, all of the weapons in the crafting table were rearranged, and a whole bunch of the recipes were removed. The new weapons and the recipes that were removed from crafting tables now show up in the world as boss loot drops and big special chest drops that you can find at the end of dungeons and mines. Okay, so I'll sum up the new weapons here. Rangers got elemental daggers and pistols. Warriors got sabers and elemental fist weapons and new maces. And mages got a brand new floating sword that sucks. They got some new destructive orbs, and they got new elemental scythes that also suck. Okay, one of the more exciting changes in the 1.3.2 update is the Fighters Guild, aka Fort Fench. Now this is actually an update to the island called Fort Fench, which is unfortunate for players that had their home base on said island, because in order to access this new content, you have to refresh your world from the world selection screen. Which means that if your home base is built in Fort Fench, like actually a lot of people that I know, it's not going to work. You have to move your home base, wipe everything, or just start up a whole new game entirely. Having said all that, the Fighters Guild is awesome and totally worth it. There's a whole bunch of new vendors, there's some NPCs with quests. It wasn't as many as I was expecting, like when they touted the update, but there's probably 4 or 5 quests, and they're all related to the Fighters Guild. And you can also tell that from the dialogue, there's more story coming with a future update. Amongst the vendors, you'll find guys with new furniture, you'll find guys with new decorations, some things that are completely cool and functional, like water pumps and drawbridges. You'll find things like potted plants, which supposedly grow. We'll get into that in a little bit. And a brand new barbershop. Now the barbershop is set up just like character creation, where you can change your hair, your beard, your skin, your eyes, your face, everything except that one little obnoxious thing that always drives me crazy, and that's voices. You can't change your character voices, unfortunately, at the barbershop, which totally makes sense, except you can change your eye shape and your mouth and your ears and physically everything about your character, so I don't know why you couldn't do something like change your voice. It's a minor pet peeve. Okay, potted plants. These guys get a special little section in this video because it's kind of an issue for me. In the 1.3.2 update patch notes, it says something along the lines of fixed potted plants that wouldn't grow. So I was excited when the 1.3.0 update came out and they announced potted plants, and I thought they were just decoration, and that was really cool. Like, there's some times when I'm building something and I was like, you know, a little shrub would look really good here. And hey, now I don't have to worry about that, but the 1.3.2 fix of potted plants that grow is what bothers me. I hadn't noticed any potted plants growing or changing in any way, but apparently that's a thing that was in the game. So I set up this little time lapse and I left my character for a very long time, probably a couple of hours in real time, and I watched these plants and nothing changed. So then I figured maybe it was a location-based problem where, you know, if I was standing in the world with them or close to them, they wouldn't change. So I went out into the world and I played around and I fought and I killed and I whatevered, and when I came back, they still hadn't changed. So as far as I'm concerned, these plants don't grow, but I've had other players tell me that they do and that they've noticed things changing in their house. So maybe it's a real time thing, like maybe I need to wait a couple of actual days before I see some differences. Unfortunately, I'm not going to wait a few days before I post this video, so as of right now, it's not something I've seen happen. And finally, water pumps. When I saw the announcement about water pumps, I immediately thought, oh, this is going to be really exciting. We're going to have fountains like in Minecraft. We're going to have all sorts of like water displays. You know, maybe I'll be able to make some water elevators of some sort. What I didn't think about was water pump, not fountain. So in the game, for special events and stuff, or for general decoration, the developers have a water fountain that continuously produces water, and it pours into a basin and then into a drain. It actually makes sense that they would not give us something like this, because a lot of players might not be responsible enough to put down that drain. So introducing a water block with that just sprays out infinite water isn't necessarily a good thing. But for us, water pumps, I'm okay with. You can do some good things with them. Mainly, you fill up a water basin for a little pool, and you don't have to throw water grenades at it. Or you can set up a whole series of water pumps, just like we did here, and you can fill up an entire lake. It still takes a while, but if you get good enough, you can actually do... I think the highest amount I was pumping at any given time was 14 to 16. And to fill in this lake, it took probably the better part of an hour. And on to the final changes of this update, beds and furniture. Beds work now in single player and multiplayer, doesn't matter which. And whenever anybody sleeps in a bed, the island that they're on advances in time by probably about a quarter of a day. This is good. I mean, originally I thought about like other survival games where sleeping is pretty much mandatory to get through the night, when big nasty things are out. And to a certain extent, it is good. It does work that way in this game. Like with the Hollow Knights, which have a new ability, by the way. They can change other NPCs around them into Hollow Knights. Just throwing that out there. But if you don't want to fight them or their hordes of other Hollow Knights, you can just carry a bed around with you and then sleep in it and advance to the daytime. The other practical use of this is if you're trying to get a good shot, like if you're recording something or, it needs to be in the daytime, that works. It's good. I can't think of anything else that this is useful for. And finally, chairs. I think this is the most useless part of this update, but I understand that it's important to some people to be able to sit down in a chair, whether you're role-playing or just hanging out and that chair looks super comfy and you gotta sit in it, then by all means do so. I don't know how to make chairs really exciting, so I'm just gonna end this video with a montage of me sitting in chairs. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you had as much fun watching this as I did making it. As always, if you like the content, please remember to like and subscribe.